All right, well, we're going to have to go on to game number 3 here. These two Titans have played pretty well so far. We've seen a lot of back and forth action. Not one of these games that you just want to necessarily copy the build order because you get to see the effects of it in the game. Instead, it's actually been kind of the seesaw of action. And I love games like this because while the games haven't been played perfectly, there's a lot of drama within the match.
Indeed there is. Now, we're going to go on to map number 3. Let's take a look at this map. It is Destination. A great, great map. Slightly Protoss favored. You know, there's a lot of builds that Protoss can do here, such as a quick offensive gas, proxy gates that really don't set Protoss that far behind, and things like that. And so, you know, in the early and mid games, Protoss is really quite strong here. But as we progress, if Terran can cut the map in half and block Arbiters, then, you know, Protoss is going to be in some trouble. So, you know, it's a great map. I think it's the best map in the TSL, and I think it's, you know, one of the best StarCraft maps ever made, so I'm really excited to see these two go head-to-head on it.
Yeah, I am as well. I don't think there's much else to say, so let's, I don't know, get this game going. Are you ready?
I am ready, Tasteless. I am excited. As you can imagine, it is 1-1, in my opinion, the best series of the final round of qualifiers. So, let's go.
Let's do this.
Alright, here we are. The map, Destination. At the north, we have Terran. At the south, Infernal. And, wow, man, I'm just wiggly and jiggly right now. My arms are flailing. I am such a little drooly nerd right now. These two are such great players. Both should be in the round of 16, but only one of them will advance, and that makes this so important.
This is what I just love about competitive StarCraft. I mean, I'm a competitive guy in general. I love all sorts of sports, but when I get to see, you know, two people from opposite sides of the globe duking it out, and this is just to get to the round of 16. It's we're not even at the round of 4, and yet we're having players with games this exciting and this dramatic.
Really, these are two players I could see either one of these guys, you know, ending up in the top. Well, we see right now Terran moving around, scouting for proxies. That's what he's doing. He's going to wall in and scout for proxies. A smart move. But as I was saying, I could see either of these players in literally the top 4 of the PokerStrategy.com Team Liquid Star League. Definitely. They're both such solid, amazing players. Infernal is actually playing good games. So, you know, it's just, what a series, man. We are so lucky to be able to do this.
Yeah, it's quite an honor to be down here casting all these great players down here, and it's refreshing to be doing non-Koreans for once. Yeah. Especially for me, because that's really all I've been doing, man.
Yeah, quite true with the GOM stuff. But, you know, we see that Terran, he's scouted. There are no proxies in his base. He's going to wall in quite safely and get that gas. So, Infernal, what build will he do? I'm pretty sure we're going to see the build that he did in Game 1 of the series on Fighting Spirit, where before his second pylon, he gets that Nexus up.
Yeah, I think you're right. And actually, this is one of these builds, we see this more with non-Koreans than Koreans, where it's actually a build that only that player does, but he does it so well.
Yeah.
There's more character in the openers for the players.
That is a very, very intelligent thing to say there. It is so true. Every foreigner has his own style, and that is part of the beauty of this, because, you know, the foreigner tournaments, all the top guys play in all of them. Everyone knows each other. Everyone knows how each other plays, and that just factors into so many mind games with these guys and so many really interesting original games that you don't see so much in the robotic Korean scene.
No, I think that's quite right. I mean, and this isn't a diss on Korea, but it's a very Confucian culture. It's more about copying and not asking questions, so to speak. And you see that in their play style. It can be very robotic. Sometimes, especially in the early seasons of the GOM TV Classic, I would see players where they would be doing builds, but you could see they didn't even know why they were doing it, because the way they played it out, I thought, oh god, that's not the advantage that this build has. But here, you see quite the opposite, as people say, no, I got this opener and it works for me, and I do it damn good, and I'll show you why.
That's right, man. And, you know, these guys, Terran, maybe a little bit more of a robotic player, but as we saw in Game 1, has some of his own builds saved up for this match as well. Now, we see that Ghosty Terran, he's taken 2 SCVs off of the gas in his main, so definitely we're going to see a factory expansion out of him. Yeah. Now, meanwhile, Infernal not doing what I was actually really expecting of him this game. Instead, he is getting range, he is making Dragoons. And what is he going to do from here? Is he going to tech again into a robotics, or are we just going to see an expansion? I'm not too sure yet.
I gotta hand it to you, man. I have no idea. It's a tough call. With Protoss, there's so many more options.
Yes.
And actually, that's why I think, in general, tell me if you disagree, but I think one-on-one maps tend to favor Protoss against Terran. Because suddenly Protoss's options are like tripled.
Yeah.
And Terran don't have lots of build orders.
That's quite true. You know, there's just not so much you can do against Protoss, you know, unless you mix in a lot of different weird 2 factories and then 1 factory starport builds. But those builds tend to be a little bit more all-in-ish, a little bit, you know, they can be pretty difficult to execute correctly because you have to hide them so well. But, you know, Protoss can open with just about anything against Terran, which, you know, a lot of people get frustrated with that, think that, you know what, okay, Protoss is actually better than Terran, or the game is in balance. You know, not really. Once you get to a high enough level, you can kind of figure out what Protoss is doing, no matter how well he hides it. So
yeah, what you see or what you don't see.
Yeah. And
you respond accordingly. And it's interesting because it's different burdens for each of the races.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, I'm Protoss, so I actually have to know triple the number of build orders as my opponent, and know all the timings, when to cut probes. Oh, okay, I get in a weird situation, what to do with that. And with Terran, it's like, oh my god, my units deal so much damage, but they receive damage even quicker. And what an unforgiving matchup until we get to the late game. So, and that's the beauty of StarCraft, is that we have all these different matchups, and they all function differently, and they reward different play styles, and you know, on different maps, they can turn out in completely different ways. So that's another thing that makes this game so exciting.
Yeah, man, best game ever, best game ever, man. Too.
Yeah,
absolutely. This is such an exciting event. And we see Infernal's build now. It has materialized. He went Robo and then Nexus, and now he's going to go Observers with 2 Gateway. In the meantime, Ghosty Terran just a very standard Siege expansion. And I'm interested to see, okay, if we take a look in Ghosty Terran's main base, you know, he is getting his turrets up as he has to because he didn't get to see exactly what Infernal's doing, so you have to make those safety turrets. And he's making an armory very, very fast in addition to these turrets. So, you know, what this tells me is we're probably going to see either A, a +1 timing push from Ghosty Terran, or B, a long game with a flash-style build where, you know, he just gets a lot of upgrades and just, you know, stays alive for as long as he can and tries to max out.
My take on this map is that, yeah, there's really only 2 ways to play this. One is what we're seeing now, which banks on the late game. He says, I hope this game lasts for more than 15 to 20 minutes, because that's when Protoss can't stop me, because Protoss units are pretty fragile. The other build is to just get a fast starport after the fast expansion, and do a vulture rush to the back with tanks. Siege it back there, try to snipe the Nexus, and see what damage you can do. You know, I think this build's actually the better one.
Yeah, you know, there's one other build that this could be. You know, if it is the timing +1, he's going to go up to 6 factory pretty quickly here.
That's true as well.
And, you know, that can actually be quite a strong build on this map. And he's actually getting speed for his vultures right now, which is going to give him some more scouting potential. He is also getting comm stats up. So he's basically just going to try to figure out exactly what Infernal's doing right now. But as I was saying, you know, the architecture of this map, if you are doing a 6 factory timing, you know, in the middle of the map, if we can go look there real quick here, 3 bridges. If you get your siege tanks down there and siege up, Protoss basically can't attack you, and you can just kind of rally up to there until you have the right amount of units to take out whatever Protoss is doing. So in that way, this is a really great map for that. Is that what Ghosty Terran is doing here? A little bit too early to tell still.
We'll probably be able to know, excuse me, we'll probably be able to know when these scanners finish. That's probably the whole time into this build, as he scans and says, okay, is he rushing for Arbiters, or is he getting a third base? So you see the scan right now, he sees 4 gates. He should know there's going to be Arbiters after he scans what would be the most logical expansions.
You know, yeah,
his opponent could get.
Even if he scans, you know, the natural base, he's going to notice that quick second gas. You know, that points towards a very gas-heavy build, and he is, in fact, going Arbiters. So, you know, pretty exciting game right here. And it looks like, all right, Ghosty Terran adding another factory, getting another add-on, and yeah, I don't know still if he's going to do a timing yet. He's just not showing us.
Yeah, he seems to be teching kind of gradually. Okay, there's the third command center. If we get a shot of the main, we don't see the same thing you guys see. We actually have a separate observer standpoint from us. Yeah, he is getting that third command center. So he's going to try to secure that. A timing attack could actually mess this up for him, but I don't think that's going to be the case. It looks like these guys are actually playing pretty conservative as far as I can tell.
Yeah, indeed. Now, what we're seeing out of Ghosty Terran, I can kind of put my finger on his build now. He does have the starport up. He is making a second armory. He does have that third command center. And what we're going to see here, oh, look at this. Yes, indeed, he is moving his siege tanks into the middle, well, sort of the middle, you know, over his bridges at least, setting up some turrets. And he's going to play like Flash right now. You know, we've all seen it a lot of times from Flash on this map. This is actually basically the exact timing. You take that third base, you siege up, you get your turrets so that you don't have to fight over the bridges against Arbiters and Storm. And, you know, he's got the 3 factories. So what he's going to do is just kind of sit tight, you know, make a whole lot of upgrades, a lot of science vessels, you know, just a lot of defense and macro up. So we see a lot of Goliaths actually coming out of Ghosty Terran right now. And that's going to help him to, you know, get rid of the Arbiters, try to keep them at bay a little bit more.
Well, I think we're going to be in for a long game here.
Yes.
I don't see any timing attack setups, and this actually might hurt him for a long run because this is a map where Protoss doesn't want to be in the late FML game, where suddenly Terran is 3-3, and you're on a map where you can't sneak Arbiters anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not a map where you can just do a carrier tech rush. You can't do that. You can't get away with it.
Yep. Well, we see that Infernal right now. He's got his Arbiter out. It's flying up, kind of checking out what's going on. A lot of Dragoons all around the place. And, well, he's got a ton of gateways in his main. If we look at that real quick. 8 gates right now, just macroing up as he takes his 4th base over on the left-hand side. And, yeah, this is going to turn into a pure macro game. And it's going to basically come down to, can Ghosty Terran defend against all of the Arbiters? Can he make turrets in the right locations? Can he EMP them in time? Can he stop the recalls?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think we're going to just pick up in maybe the next 5 or 6 minutes here. Not too much going on the map. The Panda Bear guy is actually where the Terran siege tanks are, probably giving him tips like, hey, hotkey your scanners. Important stuff for Ghosty Terran.
Wow, he's like the F1 tip menu, man.
That's right.
Well,
never pet a burning dog. There's not a lot that's going to happen, guys. So what we're seeing here is not a boring game, but we're building up to a huge climax, which is going to be, a slugfest.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, they're playing very conservatively. I think they're both hoping in a way that one player is going to freak out and make a mistake. Then one player is going to panic and rush into a situation they shouldn't, and it's not going to be that case. So if everybody, well, not everybody, but just these 2 guys play perfectly, it's going to be about these 2 expansions at the left, one at the left and one at the right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be a nightmare for Protoss to get unless we see beautiful recall timing. And that's if this game goes that long. It might not.
Now, I'd like to point out the little things that Ghosty Terran is doing here that just make me all warm and fuzzy inside. Right now, you see his Goliaths walking around near his tanks with that vessel, and he basically just used those to pick off a couple observers, and that just is going to make Infernal feel a little bit more uneasy. You know, and he's obviously not going to like that. Now, we see on the right-hand side of the map an Arbiter coming up, a Zealot scouting ahead, but look at that turret right there, beautifully placed. Ghosty Terran knows this map, he knows this matchup, and he knows to get these turrets in these locations. Now, inside the side of his base here, he basically does not have any turrets to stop that Arbiter, so if he kills this turret, or in fact, Infernal can just fly over the turret anyways. But
oh
no,
my god, it got EMP'd.
Got EMP'd. So a beautiful move right there. That's exactly the type of thing Ghosty Terran needs to do. If he can just do that for a while, man, he's going to, hold off the Arbiters enough and just grow into this disgusting 3-3 Terran monster.
Yeah, and there's really not a whole lot Protoss can do head-to-head with that. It suddenly becomes Protoss being tactical and avoiding the Terran's army. Infernal's going to go ahead and take this next base. This game, I think, is going to be probably our most epic game we've casted today.
Yeah, this is going to be...
I don't know who's going to win. It looks pretty even. Obviously, Infernal's behind slightly, because of the EMP, but it doesn't look like Ghostie's going to attack. Ghostie's actually playing very patiently. And if you look on the mini-map here at the middle left, there's actually an expansion that's, I guess you could say, is inside of Ghostie Terran's hood.
Yeah.
These are my streets, is what he's saying. But that's actually huge, because if Ghostie Terran doesn't take that out, even though eventually that expansion will be destroyed, he might be able to mine half the minerals from that, and this is Infernal thinking ahead.
Indeed it is. And another way he's thinking ahead, he is getting air attack right now.
That is huge.
Getting the fleet beacon, getting another cybernetics core. And this is really, really, really smart, because Ghostie Terran right now is showing, and look at this, the Vulture's actually going to go over and make him cancel this expansion. I don't think Infernal's even going to try to defend it. Obviously, siege tanks can really make that expansion a nightmare to hold on to. But no, he is moving Dragoons up. Maybe he is going to try to hold on to it. But Ghostie Terran obviously going to be able to push up there. But anyways, as I was saying, you know, Ghostie Terran was showing, you know what, I know how to deal with Arbiters on this map. He EMP'd that first one, and Infernal said, oh, you do? Okay. Well, I think I'll go Carriers instead. Carriers, very good on this map. And, you know, not use a whole lot here, but again, a great choice for here, especially when the Terran has shown that he knows how to stop the ARBs.
I think actually the technique, when we rarely see this anymore in StarCraft, but I guess it is going to work in a map like this, is you expand it in two locations, because Terran, being the large kind of blob-like army that they are, can only kill one.
Yeah.
So he's actually rushing both these locations, and what he's doing is he's going to suck out as many resources as he can, because ultimately the Terran can't take them both out. And even if Terran shifts back and forth, Protoss can keep taking that, but at the end of the day, Terran doesn't have command centers, turrets and mines and stuff like that there to punish him.
Yeah, that's quite true. And we see a Vulture run by in the bottom left, and he's going to be able to take out these probes at the mineral base. A nice little move there, but not making a huge difference in the game. You know, if this had happened earlier, it would have been gigantic, but as is, both players basically maxed out. You know, Ghostie Terran at 180, that's about the same thing as 200 for Terran with these kind of upgrades.
Yeah.
And Infernal obviously maxed out this entire time, just banking minerals at this point.
Actually, what's funny about this is Ghostie's actually the loser in this, because Protoss is going to have to get rid of those probes anyways.
Yeah, you
There's
know,
a moment where he's going to have to double his gateways, and he's actually going to do a carrier switch anyways.
Yeah, Protoss versus Terran is actually quite funny like that. You actually have to be careful about how many probes you have. You don't want to overproduce them. And
I think we just saw an EMP there on that Arbiter a little bit right there. Yeah, just EMP'd that one Arbiter. So there's no way you can save that expansion. One thing you can do with Protoss is you can just stasis units at the ramp so they can never actually push up there.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
Did not happen, indeed. It looks like this expansion going to be taken down. In the meantime, Infernal moving his army across the right-hand side of the map. But if you look up at the top right, Ghostie Terran making quite a hard thing to penetrate here. Spider mines and depots in the way, and Zealots just exploding as they run through. Not a lot of siege tanks over here, though. Ghostie Terran's going to have to move more of his army over if he wants to hold on to this location.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know if this is a good idea, but then again, he has to burn these units in order to switch to that carrier tech, which is supposed to throw Ghostie Terran, whose whole mind game here is to actually stick with ground units, vultures, tanks, because that's pretty strong. Actually, believe it or not, it looks like he might very well penetrate this location if he can take out... Oh, actually, I'm sorry. You know,
never mind.
Unfortunately, we can't zoom out in StarCraft 1, so when I look in these battles, I didn't realize how many tanks were actually there. He's going to be driven out. And, well, let's just hope for Infernal's sake that Ghostie doesn't counterattack.
You know, Infernal, he has, yeah, exactly. You know, he burned off units, and down at this Stargate Central, he is producing a ridiculous amount of carriers. Now, what Ghostie Terran has going for him is he could basically attack right now, and he has a far superior ground army. You know, the only thing he has to watch out for is stasises and psi storms. You know, just try to get into a good position. He can probably take out a base or two, as we see at the 9 o'clock base, or rather the 3 o'clock base, sorry. He is sieging that up, going to knock that out, and Infernal, in the meantime, trying to clean out the 9 o'clock area. But, you know, basically Infernal just kind of wants to keep Ghostie Terran busy until his carriers are out and the interceptors are up. So, you know, Ghostie Terran, right now, he does have 3-2 upgrades that's going to make him very strong against the carriers if he produces enough Goliaths.
Yeah, I think you're totally right here. The Goliath switch is in effect, so clearly he scanned that, which is a nice move by Ghostie Terran, because sometimes we see with these weaker Terran players, they aren't utilizing scan in the late game, and that's all you got to be watching for is, oh my god, are there carriers on the way? Because otherwise, I should be staying with my tech pattern. Vessels are out now. Terran has to attack, and so far Infernal's done a pretty good job of actually kind of occupying these expansions. Not really mining from them, but Terran can't actually take them.
Yeah, you know, Infernal, he has enough money banked, he is maxed, and Ghostly Terran moving down into a really great position right now at the ramps, and Infernal is coming in now from the side. A lot of vessels, can he EMP?
Nice stasis there on the vessels, another nice stasis. Unfortunately, Terran does have the ground advantage, but if he's actually stasis enough for those Goliaths, the carriers can clean up the rest. The tanks are going to be knocked out of this equation, the Battle of the Tanks, which he's pretty much spent the whole game getting, and all of a sudden, the whole dynamic of this game has shifted.
That's right. You know, he still has a lot of ground army left. And look at this, more Goliaths coming down with their great upgrades. The carriers right now, their upgrades not quite as good. You know, they have +2 air attack, +1 air armor, but 3-2 right now for the Goliaths. And I gotta tell you, you know, Infernal, he has a lot of carriers, so definitely he's still in this game. But Ghostly Terran looking mighty good right now.
Yeah, certainly. However, Ghostly Terran is spread out enough, and this is the weird role reversal that happens when suddenly Protoss is dependent on carriers, is that suddenly Protoss is the big blob that has to move around the map slowly and defend or attack, and suddenly Terran is like the Protoss or the Zerg in this case, and running everywhere, and that's exactly what Ghosty's doing. He's split up his army, and while Infernal has this carrier army that's scary as hell, he really can't do anything about it, because at the end of the day, Ghosty's going to take out definitely more than one base here while occupying these 2 locations in the middle.
Nice move right there. Stasising 4 of the Goliaths. It's going to help him to clean up. You got to run those tanks away, buddy. You got to keep those tanks alive. It's really important to not just go pure Goliath. You have to keep the siege tanks. You have to keep a few vultures occasionally to clean up the ground army, because guess what? Goliaths against Dragoons is the grossest thing in the world, man. They are so
ridiculous.
bad.
It's ridiculous. I mean, that's actually one of the whole points sometimes of going to a carrier tech. Oh my god, is he still target firing the Nexus? This is a blunder.
Yeah.
I think he might actually take out the Nexus. He did, but who cares, because he actually lost a vital chunk of his army.
But at the same time, Infernal is hurting for minerals, because
this
look
is
at
true.
this at the bottom right expansion, a couple siege tanks, good multitasking by Ghostly Terran to
Very
attack
nice,
there.
yeah.
He's already killed the left-hand side, pretty much everything except that mineral base. So right now, Infernal barely mining. So all Ghostly Terran has to do right now is keep making Goliaths and just kill interceptors, because Infernal, he's used up his bank, he's no longer maxed, and he will not even be able to afford replacing interceptors for very long from here. So really, Ghostly Terran in a very good position right now. He's mining from a lot of bases. All he's got to do is kill interceptors and keep pressure on, keep his army together, and he can definitely take this game down.
I think you're right. The only thing that Infernal can actually do to recover from the situation is to go on a very precise route of taking out strategic positions for the Terran with the carriers. And if he swings in one wrong direction, he's going to lose that momentum, because that's all he has. Terran is going to wipe out whatever ground remainers he has. What Infernal has to do is take out everything and then return to home, clean up the Terran attack, and start from zero. And it can happen, but it's damn hard to do, especially against somebody as good as Ghosty.
Dude, look at Infernal right now. On the right-hand side of the map, he has a lot of carriers up there. He's got he's got +2 armor now, so that really helps out quite a bit. He's killed that command center so fast. This many carriers on these type of ledges, man, very difficult to deal with. Ghostly Terran has to be careful. Really, he's in a bad position right now with those Goliaths on the bridge. Cannot micro them back. He basically wants the carriers to be trying to chase him constantly while he gets interceptors. But right now, you know, I think Ghostly Terran is going to win purely off his bank. You know, he's got 2.5k and 2k, or 1.5k rather. But he is just picking off interceptors. Meanwhile, Infernal, he's got less than 100 minerals. Not going to be able to keep refilling this. But in the meantime, on the left-hand side of the map, Infernal has done a good job to take out a lot of Ghostly Terran's army.
Actually, I got to say for just a second, Ghostly has the econ advantage, but I don't know if he has the army advantage, because those carriers actually left that battle almost untouched. And now if they can actually regroup and defend this expansion over here, which happens to be in the other location, excuse me, the expansion in the middle left, if he can defend that location, and it's going to be a long shot, man, but if he can defend that, he can also take out the Terran expansion slightly north of that, which would stop him from getting that additional gas geyser, which is probably the only one that he has that wouldn't be depleted. But no! He's going over here to the top right. And he's going to go ahead and attack this location. He could weave around into the Terran's main, take out the armory, and actually do a loop. I can't emphasize enough the route in which this carrier army goes in is what's critical right now. And this game is becoming so exciting.
Indeed it is. You know, this is turning into almost a chess match, a real-time chess match. Infernal is like, okay, you're attacking down there, it's time for me to move up here and start killing command centers. So right now, Infernal, he is getting so cost-effective. He's got the Finger of God here, the carriers under the Arbiter, and, you know, I have to change my opinion. I thought Ghosty Terran was going to win about 2 minutes ago, but at this point, things are getting pretty gross unless he can really trap those carriers in there. You know, Ghosty Terran, he's running out of minerals as well. His supply is now in the red, even though it is higher by 75. Still, I mean, this is, look at this, he is over the factories, and I think that, ooh, Ghosty Terran snaps that Arbiter. That is actually huge.
Yeah, that's
no
huge.
longer can he stasis things on the ramp, so Ghosty Terran may be able to defend this.
Yeah, and on another also epic note is somehow the Panda Bear guy is actually microed his way into the fucking Terran base. I actually just dropped the F-bomb, excuse me. This game is so exciting. No, but seriously, this has turned out to be an insane game. I can't believe this. And now, if we can get a shot over here with our observer of the middle left location, which was a central econ place for the
Very
Protoss.
important move right here to kill these probes. That is the end of the economy of Infernal. All Ghosty Terran has to do now is kill interceptors over and over.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, this is like beyond the critical mass of carriers, man. This is so many carriers that it is going to be ridiculous for Ghosty Terran to deal with this. But he has EMP. Here they come.
There it is.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh. Totally crazy.
This game is insane. This game is absolutely insane. It's all about this carrier fleet right now.
Indeed it is, and he flies out of the range of those turrets, loses a carrier to them. Sloppy move right there instead of letting the interceptors out to take the hits. But, you know, Infernal, he is basically not mining right now, and I don't see any way for him to mine. In the meantime, Ghosty Terran, he's got another command center up at the right-hand side, 2 of them, in fact. So as long as he keeps his Goliaths alive, man, he is in good shape. He's still at 170 supply compared to Infernal's about 100. And really, he can just kind of attack with any tanks he has. There are no ground units left for Infernal. Wow.
Every carrier counts. Note this, he took out a lot of scanners on that route over there, and if he can get rid of the science vessel, he almost takes that. It's wounded. It's actually gone now. It's going to be up to just Terran scans. There's not a lot of scans left, but these Dark Templars are a real blunder there. He moved those into the location. And they were scanned, of course. And this is actually a very unique combination. He's going to go for the scanner here. Oh my God, this game is so high level.
Infernal is a genius of StarCraft, man.
Did
you see that? There are no comsat scanners left. No, there's one comsat scanner left. It has no energy left on it.
Yeah, but 13 to be exact.
Yeah, I think that there are no DTs left as well. So even though it was a great move by Infernal, he is at this point not mining minerals.
And another thing to keep in mind is every interceptor he loses, he can't afford to remake. So he has to do everything perfectly. But right now, he is essentially dissecting this giant invincible army that was Ghosty, that was supposed to be untouchable, especially in a late game phase like this. Infernal, I have to hand it to him. This is the best game we've casted today. This is actually one of the best games I've ever casted. This is so high level.
No question about it. These two really showing why they both deserve top 16. I've been talking about this matchup for a while. This is an absolutely great game, and Ghosty Terran, he does not have many Goliaths left. Infernal, how many interceptors do you have left? Can you take out the rest of these? You know, I think that Ghosty Terran, it's going in his favor here. He is mining, and Infernal cannot seem to stop it. His interceptors are running out. Wow, I mean, this is insane, man.
I gotta ask our observer, I don't know if he's gotten this yet. Let's get a shot of how many probes Infernal has, because that's actually what we need to see now. Okay, it looks like he's mining long distance here. And note that every probe he loses, that's like what, almost 2 interceptors he's not going to be able to make. And impact-wise, it's even more than that. So if Ghosty can hang on and actually pick off interceptors, and Goliaths are quite good at that.
That mine takes out 3 Goliaths right there, and this is it. This is the final battle, man. He has to get something done, but as you see, the Interceptor Swarm going way down. An amazing, amazing game. If it wasn't for the great multitasking, attacking multiple bases at once, as Ghosty Terran did, Infernal would have enough minerals to win this game. This game is being won by the slightest of margins here by Ghosty Terran.
I'm almost losing my voice already. No, I can't emphasize this enough. Is that this is such a high-level game. This is living proof that you don't have to be in Korea to see epic StarCraft matches. Now, from where we go from here is that Infernal has to start playing catch-up. And actually, I don't know if he can get to this top right location, because that's what he's been doing this whole time. And surprisingly enough, he actually quit a little bit sooner than I would have expected. But what a game.
What a ridiculous game that was.
GG.
So GG. You can really see that these are two of the best non-Korean players in the entire world from that game. An amazingly well-played game by both sides. Neither of them really made mistakes. That was like they're just the smallest things that you could critique them on.
And by the way, on a side note, I am sorry, I swore in our cast earlier. That's actually the first time it's ever happened, so I do apologize. Obviously, we got a young audience, but sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, it's all right, man.
I dropped the ball.
So excited.
Turns out I'm not human after all.
Oh my God. Well, you know, wow. I mean,
that game was so good.
I don't even know what to say. Go see Terran right now. He's up 2-1.
Well deserved too.
Yeah, but you know, it breaks my heart that one of these guys is not going to make it through, because they are both just so ridiculously good, as we are seeing here.